The most dangerous prison you will ever live in is not built with walls. It is built with ideas. Ideas repeated so often that you stopped questioning them. Today, we are going to do something radical. We are going to reprogram your mind, not with soft motivation, not with temporary inspiration, but with deliberate psychological restructuring. If your life feels stuck, if every effort feels heavier than it should, if you look in the mirror and see a gap between who you are and who you know you could become, the problem is not your potential. The problem is your programming. And here is the hard truth. You have already been programmed. From childhood, culture installed beliefs in you before you had defenses. Money is hard. Success is for the lucky. Love equals suffering. Play small. Be realistic. Don't aim too high. These ideas were repeated by parents, teachers, media, music, society. Repetition became belief. Belief became identity. Identity became destiny. The Stoics understood something powerful. It is not events that shape your life, but the judgments you attach to them. If you believe the world is against you, your mind will filter reality to confirm it. If you believe opportunity exists, your perception will search for it. Same world, different interpretation, different outcome. Let me tell you a simple story. Imagine two people entering the same room before a major opportunity. One walks in thinking, "This is rigged. People like me never win." The other walks in thinking, "If competence is enough, I will earn my place." They breathe the same air, they hear the same instructions, but their internal narrative creates two different realities. The first hesitates, the second executes. The difference is not talent, it is belief, and belief is programmable. Here is where psychology and Stoicism meet. Your brain contains a filtering system called the reticular activating system. It decides what information is relevant, but it does not choose randomly. It obeys your dominant beliefs. If you believe you are unlucky, your mind will highlight proof of failure and ignore evidence of progress. If you believe growth is possible, your mind will highlight opportunity and downplay obstacles. You are not seeing reality as it is. You are seeing reality as you are conditioned to interpret it. Most people never question this conditioning. They defend their limitations. They protect their excuses. They say, "That's just how life is." But that statement is rarely truth. It is inherited programming. The first step of mental reprogramming is radical awareness. You must become conscious of the voice in your head. When you think, "I can't," ask yourself, "Who taught me that?" When you think, "People like me don't succeed," ask, "Is that a fact or is that repetition?" Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about things." If your opinions were installed unconsciously, then your results are not fate, they are maintenance of old code. And here is the shift. You are not a victim of your programming anymore. You are responsible for rewriting it. This is where discipline begins. Not in the gym, not in business, in thought. You must guard your mental diet. What you consume daily becomes your internal narrative. Music that glorifies weakness reinforces weakness. Conversations centered on complaint reinforce complaint. Media that magnifies chaos magnifies fear. You cannot plant strength in soil that you continuously poison. So you begin with subtraction. Reduce exposure to narratives that reinforce limitation. Observe how often people around you repeat the same patterns. Many are not consciously thinking. They are executing scripts. And if you do not consciously interrupt your own script, you will execute yours as well. But awareness alone is not enough. Understanding the cage does not break the bars. In the next phase, we go deeper into how beliefs solidify into identity, and why your mind will fight to protect even the beliefs that hurt you. Because the real battle is not outside. It is the war between who you have been and who you are capable of becoming. Awareness exposes the cage, but transformation requires demolition. Once a belief is repeated long enough, it becomes identity. And identity is the most protected structure in the human mind. Your brain would rather be consistent than successful. It would rather be certain than free. This is why people unconsciously sabotage growth. If someone believes deep down, "I am not worthy," they will reject opportunities that contradict that identity. If someone believes, "I always get left behind," they will interpret neutral events as rejection. The mind will bend reality. to defend the story it is attached to. This is confirmation bias. It is not weakness, it is wiring. But wiring can be rewired. The Stoics practice something radical: voluntary discomfort and deliberate self-examination. They understood that identity is trained through action, not fantasy. You cannot think your way into a new life without behaving differently. Action instructs the brain faster than affirmation ever will. If you want to become confident, you must act before you feel ready. If you want to become disciplined, you must execute when you feel resistance. Each action becomes a vote for your new identity. Each excuse becomes a vote for the old one. And whichever identity receives more votes wins the election of your life. This is not about pretending, it is about practicing. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily of who he chose to be, not who he felt like being. Identity is not discovered, it is constructed, and construction requires repetition. Neuroscience confirms what ancient philosophy already knew: the brain changes through consistent repetition or intense emotional impact. Since we are not waiting for trauma to force growth, we use disciplined repetition. Deliberate internal dialogue, controlled input, intentional behavior. You must become the architect of your mental environment. Replace passive consumption with intentional programming. Replace complaint with correction. Replace hesitation with small acts of courage. Courage does not begin as confidence. It begins as decision. And here is where most people fail. They attempt to grow while remaining immersed in environments that reinforce the old identity. If your surroundings constantly echo scarcity, fear, mediocrity, your nervous system will mirror that frequency. Human beings are biologically wired to synchronize with their environment. If you cannot immediately change your environment, you must psychologically detach from it. Observe without absorbing. Listen without internalizing. Protect your mind like a strategist protects territory. Silence is strength. Distance is power. Not everyone deserves access to your transformation. The old identity will resist. It will whisper, "Who do you think you are?" It will try to drag you back to familiarity. But familiarity is not safety. It is stagnation. To become unrecognizable, you must allow the previous version of you to die. Not emotionally dramatic, strategically necessary. You cannot carry the mindset of a victim into the life of a creator. You cannot build strength while negotiating with weakness. At some point, you must decide that the old narrative no longer has authority. And here is the final truth. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about removing what was never truly you. The fear, the inherited limitations, the borrowed beliefs. Underneath all of it, there is clarity. There is capability. There is sovereignty. The world does not change when you complain about it. It changes when you change your perception and act accordingly. The mind is not something you manage occasionally. It is something you train daily. If this message resonated with you, do not let it remain inspiration. Inspiration fades. Structure transforms. That is why the Master Your Mind program exists. Inside, we turn philosophy into daily mental training. Discipline, emotional control, identity construction, resilience, not surface motivation. Structured internal mastery. If you are ready to stop being shaped by unconscious programming and start consciously designing who you become, access the program through the link in the description. Subscribe for more Stoic discipline and psychological mastery. And remember, you are not trapped by your past programming. You are only limited by the identity you refuse to rewrite. I'll see you in the next video.